Yes, we are on the backup Twitch and on the Bin Hamin YouTube and in the USA, infidels. So back up, because it's on. I got the MC degree and I'm about to do this, John, with my man Von Lilas's friend. Somebody's going to get chopped today, infidels. So you better tighten up and not babe it because it's going to be the snake. It's here with Dr. Ted and Hacker Hamin. Yalla. It's the Monday locker room. We're back, and we made it through another week. Well, I guess we didn't. Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman didn't, because we got pulled for full gearing and UFCing and hip hopping and, you know, trying to live life and have a good time. And we can't do that.
Joe Biden, he said, "You're out of here, Ben."
We sure as fuck can't do that. We cannot live life and enjoy it while we're all under house arrest. You better not fucking even try and do any of that, because we don't want you guys being happy around here. Fuck that. Why would anybody benefit from that? So it's the Monday locker room. There's heat on everybody. Everybody's a heater. You're all gonna get fined, and we're gonna run down. You know what? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 headlines to get through. That's how much heat you got on you guys.
You know what it came down to, Ben? They didn't show enough intensity in the Battle Royal.
No.
That's what it was.
They didn't show enough intent. They were just in there looking around, rubbernecking.
Yeah.
Nobody was
so
like, you know,
all of you're stop the match. I don't care. The crowd sees. Come to the back. We're going to do it again.
More intensity. I get the fuck out. No,
I assume you've told that story at some point.
I haven't told that one.
Really?
You want to tell it? You go ahead.
Sure. Yes.
First, I want to say patreon.com/Hamin Media Group still blowing up. The number 3 episode of the Rip Rogers FR podcast just dropped with video, thanks to Dr. Ted going up to Von Lilas's Chopper Von Lilas's place and sitting down with Rip. We got 2 episodes in the can. We're doing more and more. There's huge things on the event horizon in the next 2 months with the Rip Rogers brand, and we're just pushing it, you guys. And it doesn't matter if they try and push us off Twitch for whatever bullshit reasons. We're over on BitChute now. We're going to be on Band Video. We're on YouTube when they want to let us on. Facebook was cracking down over the weekend right after Biden. But you know, you can't ever stop the underground. We go right to Discord. The Hamin Media Group Discord, Russo brand Discord is jumping off. They cannot stop. These 75-year-old motherfuckers who want to regulate and cash in off of how we decide to make our little video game digital currency, and they can say what they want to. The underground will always shift, and we will always be at the forefront of that until we sell out fully for $5 million. When that happens, then I don't have to make any excuses to anybody. But until that point, they will never win. They don't know how to innovate. They don't know how to use technology.
Only 5 million?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that's a bargain.
Yeah, it is.
Based on our current trajectories, I would say so.
Yeah, really, it could be 50 million if you were to do, look at progressive trends. But no, I'm just enough for me to toe the company line is about 5 million, and I can get the fuck out. But speaking of getting the fuck out of the ring, this is a good story, and I'm actually anxious to hear your point of view of it, because I vaguely remember it, but I do remember it.
Yes. Well, yeah. Then I also wanted to echo putting over the new podcast with Rip. I'll say being there in person, you get that Rip energy that is just unmatched. And as soon as Rip saw that camera was on, he was on. It just from the get go. I mean, literally in the first minute, he makes Jim Cornette sound like schoolyard talk compared to the motherfucks Rip's throwing out there. But that's a whole nother story. But Rip, if you get a chance, check it out. At the very least, check out the free preview that's been put up online, because it's
I just a lot of fun. Hacker Hamin for 8 minutes. You can hear the first 8 minutes, and then I did a little video that just popped the shit out of me, bro. Like, from the first minute of what he's doing is hilarious already, and I love it, dude. Magic. Magic. Go ahead.
And like you were saying, we were talking a little. That's why we're a little bit delayed getting on here. Was we have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline with Rip, and looking forward to those projects, and we'll keep you all updated as we go along. But I had to put over Von Lilas because we went to his house, and I think think Von Lawless felt a little like we didn't give him enough attention. So I wanted to be sure to put him over, let him know that we're thinking about it. We'll have to maybe get him on the line here at some point.
Absolutely.
Hit him up. But anyway, back to the story. So this was at DCW. This was the offshoot that was from OVW, basically all the non-contract talent. So Ben and myself and all the people that we talk about as being in our little clique. The clique. We were the core, though. We called ourselves the core.
Dude. Yeah. She texted me the other day after all the support, and she just wrote, "I love the core." I was just like, "Fucking core, bro." You know what I mean? People.
Core, the core, I would say, is you, me, Serena, Jamin, Adam Revolver, APOC,
Ali.
Yeah. Boris Santino, kind of. He was in he kind of
took his spot in the core. He left and I came in. Nobody can take his spot. I'm not saying that, but
right.
there was a spot on the roster and I came in.
For a short time, we had Atlas DeBone hanging out, but
yeah, Hog Wild too. I'd say to some degree when he was on the fence about it, but
anyway, I'm seeing my ADD's already going crazy this morning. So back to the story. DCW. This was the offshoot. All the people that we talked about were in it. Von Lillis being one of them.
Totally awesome too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we were supposed to have a high intensity battle royal as the main event, or was it the first? Either way, it was on the show. And so we all went out for the battle royal, and unbeknownst to us, we just had our serious faces on. We're ready to have a competitive battle royal. Well, Rip felt that on everyone's way to the ring that we weren't showing enough intensity. So literally all the wrestlers from the back go into the ring. Then we heard from the referees, Rip said the intensity was there. Everyone get the fuck to the back. And slowly you just see all the wrestlers go from going into the ring, just slowly shuffling in the back. Rip cuts a promo on everybody in the locker room, goes, "You motherfuckers don't have any fucking intensity. What the fuck was that? You bastards. You should be fucking embarrassed. That's bullshit. This is a high intensity fucking battle royal. They had no fucking intensity. Now do it one more time and have fucking intensity." And then you just see the curtains open up and everyone's, it's like fucking 300, the movie with everyone's Sparta coming. It's insane. You've never seen so much intensity. But because the fans didn't know, we just got our asses chewed out by Rip Rogers. And so it's a high intensity battle royal.
I think he does shit like that to pop himself sometimes because he might have wanted more intensity, but he also wanted to fuck us over, so he would go out psycho too. So and
it's also something about guys. I think we were getting a little too familiar, a little too comfortable, and it was okay. You guys aren't as over as you think you are. Get the fuck to the back, get your ass chewed out.
Way too comfortable because we were like, yeah, we got our own TV show now, and which we did. It was fucking dope, but. Holy shit.
I remember another quick Rip story is this was at a house show and Rip happened to be there. And Rip didn't often come to the spot shows, but he had, as it was at this particular one. And no, it wasn't Charlestown. I think it might've been Seymour actually.
No, Seymour. Yeah.
Because this was one of the rare times Rip came up. And so he booked the show and he wanted myself and Revolver against Jamin. And I feel bad. I don't remember who he was with, but he wanted a wrestling match. He even told us I want a lot of wrestling. So we're like, well, let's kill some time. And so we started the match doing a little ha-ha comedy stuff. And Rip literally came to ringside and he goes, "Stop doing that shit and start fucking wrestling." And the crowd was right there. He heard it. So you literally see us go from this comedy match to going and locking up and going into a wrestling match. And the crowd's like, whoa, what happened? He did not. He's going to let us know.
Fuck. You don't give a fuck, man. And yeah, and it's not his booking would be at that time was who paid dues and who hadn't paid dues. And you show up and, oh, you ain't on the fucking show. You sold 5 tickets or you didn't. Yep. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he would even plan for long-term business early on. We were just worried about, I'm there to be the storyline guy. So I'm thinking about 6 months story arcs and Rip's like, "No, fuck you. You didn't fucking pay. You're off the fucking show." So there ain't no fucking like week to week if somebody's shorted, man. For creative, it was just about the fundamentals of wrestling at that.
Now I will say,
whoever paid, he just write the card right there. You're gonna fucking work him.
The thing is, Rip would find out, and this actually, Rip and I for a while were actually somewhat at odds when myself and Adam Revolver had the book for OVW because we would have these great stories booked out, and then we'd show up the day of the show, and then Danny Davis would walk up and say, "We can't use so and so. He's the main part of the show. We literally wrote the show around him." Wow, he didn't pay his dues to Rip. And so Rip would strong arm say, nope, he's not on the show. But it was frustrating as a writer because you have these really great ideas you're ready to play out on television. And to me, I feel like the creative, should be the driving force of the show. And then you get a book on the fly, and it is what it is.
It did teach us if we get that spot and somebody gets popped for whatever on the road in the middle.
And that's true. That's true.
We know how to fucking deal with it because we dealt with it more than once. So there is
absolutely
good. Frank's Picklebear asked, "Did you had to pay cash to Rip to be on a TV show?" Fuck yeah, you do. OVW is a training center, and when you're not a bit
back in the day, it did change and evolve over time, but back in the day, it was that way.
Yeah. Dude, you're paying to be there. It's they don't call it the Harvard of professional wrestling just as a fucking tagline, bro. Like, there's a reason why the best people on TV are fucking from OVW, man. And there's tons that aren't on TV that are
and that's better. And to your point, you're essentially paying for an education, is what it is.
You are. And then so in your education, you get to fucking be, which is, I consider I got my undergrad, then I got a master's in improv, then I got a master's in wrestling is how I fucking, people might say, well, it's not a fucking piece of paper, Freemason shit on the wall. Yeah, fuck you.
And not just wrestling, I'd say episodic wrestling, episodic broadcast television wrestling, because that is different. And I'll say that's the value of coming to a place like OVW, or a place that has TV, because working TV style and TV format and knowing your times and knowing when to go to have a break spot and a comeback spot and things like that is things you never ever have to think about at a traditional non-televised wrestling show.
Even pinning facing towards the camera.
Knowing where the camera is at all times.
You can go back and watch Cody's matches with all these guys, and he fucking will. Like, even in a octopus or an abdominal stretch, Cody will move himself because the guys just throw it on and they're not facing hard cam. He has to like get them, because that's just the second nature of what we do. When I see a guy pinned the wrong way, it might not mean shit to the fan at home to see his back, but to me, that's cringe right there, dude. Every time, like, ugh. Amateur.
I called it out last week, and he's a guy that I like a lot. I think he's a hell of a hand, and he's got a lot of potential. But Luke Gallows on Impact last week, when he didn't face the hard cam, I was like, he knows better than that.
He knows better. And it's just being out of position for things that expose. And only a wrestler at that high caliber will be able to see that kind of shit.
True, but I'm glad here on The Locker we talk about it, because it's one of those things I feel like people don't always notice. But if you watch pay-per-view, watch television, whatever, you can tell who the pros are based on who's positioning themselves towards the camera and who isn't.
Yep. And who was trained to do that. So and people are like, you paid to be on, dude. When you went to college, does somebody go, hey, we're going to put you in 1 million homes in the three state area. Go kill it. And maybe you'll get signed off of that. Cause it sure as hell worked for fucking Gavin Garrison, APOC, who's Rick Victor, Serena. Then Idol Stevens came back to work with us. So did Dolph Ziggler. So did Mondos. Like, there's people I'm forgetting. I'm absolutely sure. And then there's people who've done things that have been incredible out of that. Pat Buck, obviously on Raw and running Wrestle Pro, to Ben Woods going and doing movies and now Elevate Pro, like running his own Fed, man. So they want to be like, oh, you paid this, that, or the other. That's why we're the best in the biz. That's why, because we paid for our education. We wrestled 3-4 days a week. And we trained 2 days a week, and we did 2 TVs a week, Wednesday and Thursday. And me and this guy and Whitey Ford fucking would sit up till 2-3 in the morning and 2-3 days a week writing these shows, crafting these ideas. It was fucking magical, dude. That's a dream come true at that time, when even if you're living hand to mouth and everyone's living like a broke college student, you're doing some of the best group work and creative work that you could imagine to sharpen your swords. And once your swords are sharp and you leave to go out and be a Ronin Shogun, you're ready to fucking do battle every place. And that's why we've been successful, man. So That's the longest.
And I also say we were at a particularly interesting and good time to be there, and that we had some incredible talent to hang around with and learn from. We got to work with Mike Mondo, fresh off his run with the Spirit Squad, and literally week in and week out, he would emphasize the stuff he was learning from Sean and Triple H on a weekly basis, and use that and teach that to us. And same thing with having like a Joey Mercury working with us, and so. Getting the chance to literally go on the road with these guys and learning the lessons and getting in the ring with them was just hugely valuable. I mean, it's similar to what I would say,
Nick Dinsmore, absolutely Nick Dinsmore.
Yeah. And I'd say, wrestlers still to this day, pay for those experiences. Usually it's in a seminar type format, but on that at that particular time doing that on a weekly basis. And again, it shifted out eventually. Eventually it was, I will say Danny Davis had the system set up to fully fund everything for way too long. And we did have to fight for it because at one point we did end up leaving OVW because it was like, or guys having to pay for life. And that wasn't a fair deal. So I know some of us ended up walking out and then coming back when they, made it to where, okay, the first 2 years in wrestling in the school, you pay. And then otherwise you're part of the product. You're helping the company grow. And not to get too far on that subject. I don't even know where we were going with that.
No, it's just the fucking being a mark to be paid on TV versus what the reality is of how you look at the value in it and what you're going to take out of it. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not trying to shit on Dinsmore's school or Booker T's. Dustin, I love that all these guys got their own 3D academy. How many of them come to our school and you can be on TV within the first 6 months of learning this craft in some capacity? None of them have that to say you can be on TV in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Nobody has it. Now the internet's demassified that. I get it. But now how many of those have an arena that's a fully functioning studio to shoot? Right. None of them. And granted, I think the model to go learn wrestling, I would say, is different now because I would love to have gone to OVW for 6 months to a year, gone to fucking move to Dustin's, move to fucking Nick's, move to do work with Gangrel, move to Vegas, like at 2-3 months at a time. Just say I'm going to do this and go learn from Sin Bodie and D'Lo. Go fucking to Monster Factory at Danny Cage's place. Go up and learn from Tyson Dukes in Canada. And Santino. Like, your wrestling education opportunities right now are even better than OVW. Maybe not to get the TV experience, but to learn from the guys who have the best careers and styles, in my opinion, that have opened schools to pass that on. Whoever you want, the Samoans, everybody. I mean, that when you start doing that, a lot of those guys have their own indie feds. Now you're working feds and you're learning to work territories, and it's going to be even easier for you to get overseas, which is one of the hardest things to do to become an international wrestler. So if they work it the right way or they look at it a certain way, there's all different types of ways to get that education at the highest level and become the best in the business. You just got to put in the 2 to 3 years to do it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys finding us here at Ben Hamin YouTube channel or twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. If you guys want to tweet out the Twitch as we're banned, I'm going to have to do the account, try and get it turned back on the other one. I thought maybe 24 hours and they'd be back, but it's not. So it doesn't bother me either way. Real. I mean, it does. I don't like the censorship, but we're doing it. And one thing they can't stop and they'll never stop around here is the goddamn Monday morning monologue. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I admit this is unfortunately a little bit shorter monologue than usual. That being said, I still tried to bring the thunder as best I could. It's been a heck of a crazy week this last week. I hope everyone's been doing okay, regardless on who your guy was or wasn't. I hope at the very least everyone can move forward and we can find more ways to just unite as a country and also to around work more with the other countries around the world too. I know we have a lot of international fans as well, but wish for nothing but I don't fucking know.
A little more unity, a little more understanding.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, something like that. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go on with the jokes, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Monday morning monologue. In an interview with Wrestling Inc., Mick Foley spoke about WWE's edict against third-party platforms and said that they are leaving him and his Cameo account alone for now, which to me is very good because I'm not quite sure the world is ready for a Mick Foley OnlyFans account yet. Speaking of Mick Foley, his son Dewey Foley, the son of the WWE Hall of Famer and current member of the WWE writing team, posted to Twitter to note that he's voted for the very first time in the 2020 elections and urged others to vote as well. The 44th president then retweeted the post, Barack Obama himself, congratulating Foley on exercising his right as an American. So time will tell if this leads to the debut of WWE's newest tag team, the Barack and Sock Connection. There's a long way around for that one. This past week at Full Gear on the pre-show, NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb defeated Allison Kay to retain the NWA Women's Championship, which unfortunately means that Serena still cannot let me start back over again. Serena still cannot go to gas stations, though, because she's always having to carry matches.
Worth the wait around there. Yeah.
That's right. Unfortunately, I did miss Full Gear, though, the actual pay-per-view, but then I did see some origami wrestling over the weekend. You could say it was a pay-per-view. No. And last but not least, James Storm revealed that he recently had a wrestling training session with Ronda Rousey and her husband, former UFC fighter Travis Brown, back in October. It appears on a new update from Fightful that Brown might be looking to make the transition to pro wrestling as well. Will he be any good? Will he be the shits? Either way, I feel fairly certain that in 2021, we're all going to see a lot of Brown in that ring. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, that's the word, turds. I like that one for sure. That was great. Yeah, the Mick Foley Dewey thing instantly got my the hair on the back of my neck standing up because, dude, you want to talk about bought and paid for, maybe for a little more than $5 million. But Foley, right before and after the election, with the big,
he's all out.
Of like, this country's disgust. Like, dude, nothing's happening. Like, this guy's on top is with the biggest workers. How is he getting? Why would he be letting himself be worked? And then I see Barack retweets Dewey, bro. That's all bought and paid for shit. Why would Barack Obama be retweeting Dewey Foley if that wasn't a part of the whole thing? While Mick goes in to like, shame, how dare you on voting day and afterwards. It's like, wow, okay, I see. Like, that's interesting to me because Vince still has control over Dewey and what can happen. So to step outside and do that is kind of like sacrifice. I mean, I've heard that McMahons can be vindictive about things. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but that doesn't look like a smart thing to me unless Dewey's going to jump ship and go work for Biden, which is highly possible and probable. You know what I mean? If they got him to sell out from in between, because
I'm sure the pay would be better.
Check this strategy out. Somewhere in a Democratic booking meeting, they went, we got to isolate some of Trump's weapons. And if I was on their side and doing it, this is just how I would be doing it as a marketer too. What is a weapon he has? The WWE wrestling fan base. Okay, what do? We fucking workers gonna work. They're gonna take money and do what the fuck the boss tells them to do. So they give fucking Foley the big fucking snabbits on the side to payday to do that, and they're gonna retweet Dewey, and they'll mark out that Obama retweeted Dewey, and our family's made because the president retweeted us.
Yeah,
remarks for social media. They have Hollywood put pressure on the fucking Rock and on Batista to fucking say, hey, if you guys come out and endorse Kamala and Biden, you're going to get a 3-picture deal worth $60 million each. You think they're not going to fucking do it? Of course they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that because they know that Vince will always, as long as he's alive, need them to come back hat in hand. So they took the worker payday and got over. They don't give a flying fuck about like the wellness and goodness. Look at how they've been responding to this type of stuff, man. And Batista dancing in pajama pants. Like, you think, dude, in Hollywood, you're down with one or two groups to like as the power players. the Jews or the gay mafia? When you're dancing around in pajama pants, who do you think is pulling the strings on you?
If I had to choose between the Jews and the gay mafia, I think I'm going with the gay mafia on that one.
Yeah, me too. And hey, sell out when you got to, but like, it's pretty apparent that to me that somewhere in the Democratic Party they said we need to isolate the wrestling fans from letting Trump have that whole thing, and that could be enough to do it. How do we do that? Let's get to the guys that we can get to because they're already on our payroll. I'm surprised John Cena didn't come out and fucking toe the line trying to get over in Hollywood. I bet they probably stepped to him, but to me, that was all a big part of the psyop to see those guys, workers, top level workers selling on Twitter. There's only one reason for that, in my opinion, man. And it was that. So that stuck out to me, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll say from the Democratic Party standpoint, it's a smart move. Now, from a brand building standpoint, I guess guys like The Rock and Batista and I guess to a lesser degree Foley, you know, they've established that brand, and so it is what it is. But someone like Dewey Foley that's still young in his career, it's a risky move, I think, personally.
Yeah, I mean, unless the money's there and it's the $5 million, now I can tell everybody to fuck off, I guess.
True.
You've been making pancakes for 4 years, and now you get to book 205 Live that's not even on TV. Like, well, maybe it is time to sell out to this side, you know, whatever. Yeah, we got it. Big Steve Areno checking in from the gym this morning. Hope you had a good weekend, buddy. Definitely crazy times in your state, no doubt about that. But if not, the Conspiracy Horseman will be back here on Hamin Media Group. I'm going to try and get the other Twitch channel unfrozen with whatever little mealy mouth appeals that you got to do to the gay deer at Twitch to fucking get things back on track, but whatever. Yeah, show me one thing, Stevie. Just show me one thing. I'll play the audio from this brilliant interviews that the Man Beast has done, you know, with Rip Rogers to get this thing going, and we're all just super excited about it. It just pops me. Patreon.com, Hamin Media Group, you guys.
Well,
do you pop for this?
I do like that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of the FR podcast.
Oh, but fuck, I get.
Yeah, I got to get the biceps in there.
On the other side. Look, you got the fucking thing here. I got the big ass goddamn fucking cannon over here.
There we go.
Jesus.
There we go. I'm 66 motherfucking years old, you fucking lazy fucking millennial fucking nerds. Doing your fucking dives ain't worth a fucking shit. No fucking emotion, no intensity. You don't know fucking nothing about fucking. Oh, I know. Let me. Here's your promo and here's your fucking match. In other words, you ain't where the fuck. You know how to fucking call the fucking ring. If you can't, Jesus fucking Christ, fuck off, die. Look, hey, you see it? Did you see that? I got the shirt Triple H sent me.
He did. He got that from the game.
Yeah, fucking game sent it right to me. Looking good.
Well, that's just a small taste of what we got going down at patreon.com, Hamin Media Group, you guys. If you want to hear the rest of this episode exclusively, you're going to have to go over there and join our new Patreon for Hamin Media Group, because we've got the Hustler Rip Rogers FR podcast.
Well, I'm going to have to sign up. It was a lot of fun, and it you know, honestly, I was thinking about it. It'd probably been over a year since I've last seen Rip in person, so I think just he was extra excited to just get together and shoot the shit. And I'll say he was especially on fire that day that we shot that.
And so we've got episode 3 out now and episode 4 in the can. I'm excited, man. Dude,
and don't forget, it was at Von Lilas's house. He just definitely want to make. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, can we try to get him on the horn? Just let him know that you know, he's over. I'll tell you, Von Lilas was someone that I wish would have gotten his shot. Man, he really had it. He was definitely a physically imposing wrestler for one, and he was great in the ring too. I'm
gonna stooge off. Rip is texting me right now, dude. And
oh, really?
I might have to send you back out there this Thursday if you got it, because I'm gonna stooge off these texts right here. Let's see if it catches. Can you read that?
Okay, yeah. All right, I guess we'll do it again.
Read the top one out loud.
Oh, I'm ready to be a super heel on podcast. Call out stupid shit. I'm free to do podcast Thursday about 2 p.m. Talk to BC if he can make it. All right, well, we'll make it work.
I'm ready to be a super heel means he's fucking fired the fuck up right now after that video this morning. But man, go check it out. I just put it out on @bin_Hamin on my Twitter, and Hamin Media Group has retweeted, obviously. But dude, Rip's fucking so jacked, right? Is he on B12 too? Is he part of the fucking pipeline?
He said he puts the reps, and we go a little bit into it. We shot 2 episodes last week, and so I don't think it's on this one, but on the next one, we talk about it a little bit, and he literally will do 300 reps for every body part every day. He doesn't take a recovery day, which I'll say as a healthcare professional, I will say I do recommend a recovery day, but Rip Rogers, I'm not going to tell him what to do. He can do whatever he wants. But otherwise, if you're not Rip Rogers, I recommend at least one recovery day.
I just hit him up, say yo Allah.
Yeah, yo Allah. I know I like that. He says yo Allah.
Yo Allah.
Oh man. No, it's fun because this is the old Rip. Like I feel like for a while, Rip was kind of just getting tired and jaded. And I feel like he's revitalized. This is the Rip Rogers I remember when I first started and getting cussed out, on a weekly basis by him, but still knowing that he's doing it to try to teach a certain kind of lesson. Sometimes I didn't know what the lesson was. I just felt he was just wanting to yell at me. But overall, I felt it worked out because in the end, I think all of us that were around him for that long ended up, especially back, I'd say in the mid 2000s, around that time, you just learned so much from him in just a week. And then imagine, weeks and months and years on top of that. And it's crazy how much I've learned from the Hustler.
And now with how technology is, we're able to take that learning tree and build a forest from it, possibly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Super excited for the future, and just want to again highlight you, Beast, for the great fucking effort you've done since you came here to Hamin Media Group. We've expanded, turned the corner, and you and I have worked together and been friends for 14 years, and it's just to have that safety net of knowing that I got guys on my staff, you, MSG, Big Ray, everybody, man. I could go down the list, Bello, Colin, all of them doing great stuff. Billy Ray when he's not out with his girlfriend, like all.
and actually, RBV, I almost don't want to go down the list because we're going to forget someone.
RBV, Jargo.
Bello.
Yeah. But you, Beast, with this project, we had to have the big meetings and kind of a shift of manpower, and I'm like, wow, this could be not just big for Rip, but big for the world. I think, you know what I mean, and I'm excited about it.
Absolutely,
I'm excited about it, but I'm not excited to put the heat back on the locker room because you guys didn't show enough fire this morning. You weren't sharing, all the links, letting them know that the locker room was going down. We got to sell tickets to this motherfucker. We got to sell out. You lazy cocksuckers. You think you're over? No, you ain't over because there's 17 headlines to get through this morning.
Oh, man.
Holy shit. Starting it off hot with one of the biggest heaters in the locker room. CM Punk responds to Linda McMahon's Donald Trump tweet, and the wrestling industry reacts to Joe Biden's win. Standing with President Trump for a fair count of legal votes, ignoring court orders and breaking state laws is the opposite. We must continue to challenge, is what Linda McMahon, former Trump small business administrator, tweeted out. And then after Biden's victory, CM Punk responded to McMahon with the classic photo of Punk with Biden's face photoshopped on it, blowing Vince McMahon a kiss after he won the WWE Championship against John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011 with the fan there. So, then Sasha Banks says, thankful, let's grow. Sami Zayn says, don't let the door hit your ass. Mickey James says, attention, this is a political tweet. Can I get a thank you, Jesus gif? John Layfield puts over Kamala Harris. And then Mick Foley goes ballistic on a bunch of things. Iron Sheik said, did 2020 just turn babyface? Should I stooge off this on the Iron Sheik account or not? I have inside info on it. It might fucking take away from the majesty of it. I don't want to. I'm not going to stooge it off. I'm not going to. Yeah. So a bunch of wrestlers going political, not protecting their products, pissing off the boss for Twitter thumbs, for virtue signaling that's going to hurt their money possibly, and then also alienate part of the audience that they want to appeal and sell to. So I think it's super fucking stupid when you're a mega star on TV to be trying to get your shit in on social media, which will inevitably make half of your audience fucking look at you a certain way. If it was 70-30, then maybe, but I think that's a very stupid. Now we deal in that here, and I'm not on TV as a multi-million-dollar a year talent, so it's a different fucking call, you know. But that is real bad. And now, what's up with the Forgotten Sons? They come out and can't say something 8 months ago and get canceled, but everybody can fucking come out now and dance around and do whatever the fuck they want, you know, like. The double standard is, again, so hypocritical, so blind to their own fucking behavior. I just really want to start finding motherfuckers. Big money. Big money.
Big money. The Twitch money.
All kinds of that Twitch money. What are you thinking there, bud?
It goes back to the fact that, you know, like we were talking with Dewey Foley before, as soon as you brand yourself as that, you are, you know, alienating a certain fan base away from you. That being said, I can't help but wonder too how much, because, you know, although this past voting turnout was more than we've ever had, but there's still a sizable amount of people that don't vote and I don't think really care or feel like the system really is set up for their vote to really count towards anything. And so I also think that sometimes I think it's overstated as far as how much damage it really does. Because a lot of times people are voting just because, you know, they feel like, you know, they don't feel as strongly towards one candidate. They're just feeling like, I guess this guy I'll vote for. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, we got fucked on that exact point, Beast. You're right on with that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I voted young Trizzy just because I wanted to fucking do the fucking assassination with the crossbow on fucking Hillary's campaign, right? She didn't even come out to fucking like talk to her supporters, which makes them look like they don't really give a shit about their base at all and what it was really all about. They got exposed bad. Now we have 4 years of fucking Cheeto thumbs, but no, we're not doing any for-profit wars. Our fucking my business grew 35% in those 4 years. I have more opportunity than ever, and as an independent businessman, so I'm not hot about it. But here's the thing: that other side had chance to be promising things, and we got fucked because we didn't hold their feet to the fire. All student loans could be absolved January 20th, but did you hear that in the fucking debate at all? No, because it was all about getting rid of young Trizzy and fucking not promising shit to the people. So now this motherfucker babbling and sniffing and fucking doing crank with his fucking kid doesn't have to come through with shit on the payoff to fucking pay anybody out. Do you hear, oh, if I get elected on January 21st, you're going to get a $3,000 relief check of the new fake cryptocurrency that they want to come out with to battle the real cryptocurrency because the Rothschilds can't control it? Nope, none of that. No payoffs. We're going to get nothing because we didn't fucking hold their feet to the fire before this shit. And they played the work perfectly to get in office to some degree. Well, they're not yet because, and I'll tell you why they're not in office yet, because the $2 bet that I put on Trump still hasn't paid off on Bovada. When Bovada takes the money out of the account and that's a losing bet, Bovada calls the election as far as I'm concerned. So it's still an open bet at this point. But dude, I would have been kissing Biden's ass like it was Vince McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club if he would fucking show up on January 21st and go, all student loan debts absolved. You name my price, B.
Me too.
You go here, I'd be like, let me go find you some 13-year-olds to sniff real quick. Like, you want to, you know, let's go check out some middle schools for you, buddy. You know, that's, but we're not going to get any of that because they're not going They're going to play us right back into Citibank's hands, right back into fucking Fannie Mae, right back. All of them are fucking, all those deals are getting redone and tightened for the next 20 years so they can't get undone again. So we can have debt slavery, so we can have for-profit prisons, because that's what that cunt's all about, is for-profit prisons. So, you know, good times, great oldies, like it's celebrating the streets.
It's just amazing to me how this, I mean, I can understand why, but it's still crazy that this past election had so much fanfare. I imagine there's people that are like ourselves in that, you know, I can't get excited over either candidate, yet people are losing their minds over both. And
Right.
so I guess when I see these people putting out these things, I do think, man, that they kind of, you're branding themselves one particular direction, but there's also the other part of me. I don't have a visceral hate because of that. I'm sure some people do, but instead my reaction is really just to roll my eyes on people from both sides that were putting it over and think, okay, there's bigger fish to fry, and just move on. So, you know, and so I do think it does isolate their brand to a degree, long story short, but I also think that it's not exactly, I don't personally think it's as detrimental or you know, it's as, I don't think it's necessarily going to change their fan base necessarily too drastically, but it is certainly going to change it to some degree.
The major thing Trump fucked up was he increased the price of 3D printers about $40 in about 2 weeks from getting parts from China. That was the big fucking thing that I felt from all that. Aside from that, my business grew every year. Yeah. So now it'll be awesome to have to fucking go back to universities where they're going to pump millions of dollars back in there. But this time around, I'm just going to create digital courses that run themselves, because that's what they're going to make you do is suck off the tea of whatever it is, especially I'm sure in your business too, because they're going to try and fucking socialize that. And you'll have to find a way to be like, okay, I got to play this game because there's guaranteed money because it's government subsidized, and everything I had of ownership over my own and myself, I still have, but now it's harder to make a buck that way when there's a big fucking feeding frenzy over here. That's just how they swing the fucking the rats through the maze, bro. It's just a big fucking like to have to redo all your business again. Should be a good time.
Yeah.
But we pivot. That's why we're the underground. You don't think you're getting out of these headlines, you fucking heaters. WWE is abandoning its efforts to secure the trademark for the name Brock Lesnar for entertainment services, according to Heal by Nature. As per report, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office canceled the filing for the trademark last month after WWE failed to comply with its documentation request. After WWE filed for the application on January 9th this year, USPTO denied the request on March 12th, citing that Brock Lesnar could come to our office and F5 the fuck out of all of us. So we're going to deny this. No, the WWE needed to provide a written consent from Lesnar to move forward with the filing. Furthermore, the USPTO reportedly had issues with certain verbiage WWE used in the applications. This is my goddamn name, you cocksuckers. WWE
for fucking verbiage.
WWE had up to 6 months for consent from Lesnar, which they failed to comply with on September 15th. WWE's application was abandoned and correspondence was sent to the company on October 2nd. This is interesting because since furloughed, 260 people, maybe this was somebody's job, because the Cody one, they acted like, oh, WWE just relinquished the right to it and as good faith to Cody. But I think somebody whose job this is a paper pusher to make sure these little resentful fucking trademark issues stay in, a state of fucking the gray area all the time, where people are trying to do it behind the scenes. Whoever's job that is to keep that paperwork updated is furloughed or fired. And that's why these things are slipping. And of course, they're not going to know about it higher up in the office until it's too late. But Brock and his lawyer has been waiting on it, seeing every day. And when the time's up, and as soon as they do, they jump on it and get it back and locked down. I think that's what Cody did too. So I think COVID and getting rid of that many office people is the real reason why this shit is, and maybe some verbiage, but when that came back, there was nobody to follow up on it, and it just expired.
If you go to the WWE Careers website, 17 days ago, you can see they are looking for a new vice president of business and legal affairs. So certainly that would lend credence into that hypothesis.
Right. That's interesting. That is interesting. So What else? What else are they losing out on? You know, that's in what could somebody capitalize on right now, knowing that information and pick up other trademarks that they have it's like camping on a website. If you know a product's out or coming, they don't have a website, you go by the URL, then Michael Jackson had to pay a shit ton to get michaeljackson.com at the time when things were going because somebody camped on it. What if you go because I think trademarks like $350. So if you had an extra $1,200 kicking around to go grab fucking trademarked for who knows, Ultimate Warrior, who knows was fucking shit is up.
Oh, you know? and Hamin Media, now the new owner of WrestleMania. No,
right? Everybody's pointing at the fucking sign. That's interesting. That's a possibility, is it not?
Yeah, one to think about. Although I think I saw another story that showed him. I don't know if this was lending more credence to your theory of them, dropping the ball on things. But certainly there must be still someone involved in the legal aspect of it, because I did see that where Cody or AEW had stopped pursuing the Slamboree trademark. Apparently that was filed for by the WWE. So I don't know if that was like, oh shit, we fucked up, let's do something. And filing for that, but interesting.
But that meeting could have taken place right before COVID when they were trying to do the other one, and they locked those down. And Cody's could have been done long before that. The time period of when that person gets furloughed and when Cody's comes up is the overlapping window in that, and they just sit in the back thinking, "Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?" Keep checking every day, and then it comes up that you can get it. You fucking jump on it, you know what I mean? And they're fucked.
Yeah, sure.
I love it. Alberto Del Rio responds to Paige's allegations of physical abuse. Paige recently on Mickey Jones Gaw TV described a cycle of mental and physical abuse from Del Rio, who allegedly kept her locked in a room for hours and beat her ass every couple of minutes and did a bunch of crazy things to her on a daily basis. While responding to Paige's allegations, Del Rio told TMZ Sports that Paige was actually the aggressor in their relationship. It was just the other way around, he said. I have the evidence, not just words. Del Rio went on to say that he was considering taking legal action against Paige for defamation. I would say, Raya, why are you doing this? Raya, I'm not calling you Paige because you were never Paige to me. You were Raya. Would you hurt me in the moment like this? Paige also said karma is a real thing, while reaction to Del Rio's indictments by a grand jury on charges of aggravated kidnapping and sexual assault. A trial date of January 25th, 2021 has been set for Del Rio, who faces life imprisonment if found guilty on aggravated kidnapping in the first degree. Wow. Yeah, dude, you're facing life imprisonment and you're worried about what fucking Paige is kind of saying on a fucking dirt sheet show and selling for it. Like, dude, I remember when they showed up on fucking Impact and she was under WWE contract at ringside under a mask. I'm like, these fuckers are coked out of their minds, bro. They gotta be. And like all the fight that they had in the fucking airport where she was yelling shit about him, like a bad situation all around at that time. And I'm glad she's out of it, especially if this guy's doing fucking kidnappings and all kinds of other shit that reinforces what she was saying more than what fucking reinforces whatever the fuck he's saying. Like, this is a crazy pattern of fucking behavior of someone who's obviously got some deep-seated psychopathic issues. And not to say that Paige doesn't have her own carny family lifestyle of her own, but it doesn't sound like one justifies the other, in my opinion.
No. Then you notice since she's been out of that relationship, you haven't heard any more stories like that of just her acting out and things like that. She seems like she's finally got her head back on her shoulders again. And no other piece of information tends to lend any credence to his side of things. And so it's an interesting move, other than maybe he's trying to just literally throw shit against the wall and see if something sticks as far as getting some kind of momentum or people behind him. But it's way too late for that. This was something that, he should have addressed when he, went from transitioning into manhood decades ago, and he didn't figure it out then. And now this is what happens.
No. And just thinking you're over,
If anything, I feel bad for Paige for him saying all this stuff, because I'm sure that brings up a lot of bad memories and whatnot, and I'm sure it's painful to have to relive that. So if anything, hearing that headline, I'm more inclined to feel like shout out to Paige for having to deal with that, and I hope she's doing well.
Yeah, me too, man. Absolutely. We reached out to her, no word back on maybe working together, but with the stars,
you never know.
The stars align, so be it. And what you were talking about earlier off camera could be a next big thing too. Always looking for new opportunity, and that's actually a video I'm going to be uploading within the next 48 hours at Hamin. Patreon is the third part of SWOT analysis opportunity. I had a awesome day Saturday, just kicking it in the woods, and made some cool video for you guys. But I'm gonna edit it all together, see what I was seeing, and we're gonna talk about opportunity on the marketing tier. So I'm excited about it, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. This was a hot one, and here's guys. We got respect for both guys. Dolph Ziggler and Ryback trade shots on Twitter. SmackDown superstar Dolph Ziggler and Ryback engaged in a back and forth Twitter exchange on Sunday. It started with Ziggler posting a picture from his days as an All-American amateur wrestler at Kent State University, where he established several records, won 165 tournaments in 2000, 2002, and 2003. Ryback tweeted #bridges before #bitches while responding to the picture. In his response, Ziggler labeled Ryback as a Goldberg ripoff and someone the WWE locker room didn't like to work with. Quote, "They called me Goldberg because everybody hated wrestling me." Ryback then mocked Ziggler as Shawn Michaels wannabe and wondered if the co-op was returning to NXT to work in Triple H's developmental program instead of the main roster. Said, quote, "I never heard those chants. I was too busy listening to the buildings roar and shake when my trademark feed me more. What's next for Ziggy Michaels, sitting in Gorilla working under Pussy Paul's developmental program?" Ziggler eventually posted a sad face emoji and stopped responding to Ryback. Interesting, Ziggler and Ryback were a tag team back in 2015. Wow. Ryback's been going in, but to go at heel, that's kind of fucking weird to me, man.
I feel like, honestly, I think they were showing off. I don't think this was real. If you want to know my honest thing, because they're friends from back in the day, and they're known for getting their digs in pretty hard in real life on each other anyway. So to me, this was just them kind of hamming it up online and stirring up a little controversy. To me, I could be wrong, but to me, I took it as they're ribbing each other, and at least I hope I'm right. I hope it's not. They're not really, because I feel like Ziggler won. I feel like he's smarter than that. I feel like Ryback's one that's never shied away from sharing his opinion on social media, so he very well, could be doing that. But just knowing the history of those guys, I don't see this as being a legitimate thing between them. But that's, I could be wrong too.
Sure. Yeah, I hope not. That's the Pussy Paul developmental thing where it got a little like here's a good one. New hot young upstart wrestler Serena Deeb discusses the future of AEW and NWA working together. NWA World Champion Serena Deeb defeated Allison Kay on last night's Full Gear buy-in. Deeb joined the post-show media scrum job to discuss how she sees the women's division in AEW and NWA working together going forward. She said, quote, she said, geez. If you think back up to wrestling in the territory days, people were just swapping around, traveling here, working there, and working with different people, Deeb said. When wrestling became really monopolized, it became separated. And I think it's to the detriment of the fans. So-and-so is here and so-and-so is there. You can't see that match. And understandable as it is, this partnership between NWA and AEW is super powerful. And I think it's going to change wrestling from a women's standpoint. I'm really excited about it. I think the AEW women's roster is really growing and it has so much potential. With people coming in from the outside, when you're in wrestling, it only helps you to wrestle other people, other women and other men. It just helps you to get you, the more in the ring you get with different people, you become a more well-rounded wrestler. I think with this partnership and different women coming in and different women going elsewhere, it's going to benefit everyone. I think the fans are really excited about it too, and it just keeps it very interesting. As noted, Kay, a former NWA World Champion herself, announced she was a free agent earlier this week, and then Deeb defeated her, and then Thunder Rosa came out to face off again to re-challenge for the title that Deeb took from her at UWN. So Devious one doing her first scrum, and I think she knocked it out of the park because I saw it on all the sheets, kind of that being the biggest headlines coming out of what's going on. You know, I think they dropped the pebble in the pond maybe to face Sheeta. They asked who she wants to face, and obviously she's working towards the top. And you know, I think we could see Serena 2 belts possibly here, man, based on what I saw in the other women's match versus the opener versus AK. And Allison K, dude, I've been watching. I mean, I've known her Indies 2CW, and then all through Impact, she started to get herself over and like work on character more and whatnot. And now, body wise, she's really been working. She's in the best shape I've seen her in ever in this match with Deeb. And there's a couple in-ring things that can always be punched up, but again, I think. And I'm biased, but at the same time, I got to say, Allison K versus Serena was the best match on AEW Full Gear.
Well, it's certainly the best match that I saw, but I also didn't see the pay-per-view.
They did on the pay-per-view that's Indy 101, and I've had it done to me 3 or 4 times. They did a 4.5-hour show, and
no, you can't do that.
From starting at 7 to pre-show to like. They just had too many packages to tell the whole story, and like their heart was in the right place. And I was pumped for Moxley versus Kingston. By the time they got there, the crowd was just burnt. And like when the guys were doing the watch along, they were like, "Dude, this is still going." When we're in Jericho and Matt Hardy, like they could have shaved off the Broken Universe stuff a bit. And I've been in that spot. Me and GGP, one of the last shows we did together, we opened with the big scene in the beginning of the show to Billboard. And then by the time we get to the main, half the crowd's gone and the other half is like, because the promoter booked fucking, he goes, "We're only going to have 7 or 8 matches on this card." We get there and he does a buddy favor. Now there's 11 matches with fucking these shit birds who fucking got to eat up 20 minutes in the front end because he's doing a buddy favor. And the main event's fucked. We're there for 4 hours and everyone's burnt. And that's the same thing that happened on this show. I was glad Deeb and AK were on the first, just established with wrestling, while everybody else is going to do everything under the sun on the rest of the show, you know. But that's a booking mistake. Hopefully they don't make that again.
And it comes down to human psychology. The human attention span can only last so long. That's why movies typically don't last more than 2 hours or so, because simply, no matter how good your story is, again, it comes down to the human attention span, period, is only so long. And so it behooves you to leave the fans proverbially wanting more. And so you pack the not as much action as you can, but you pack as much story as you can and as much storytelling as you can in the 2 to 2.5 hours. And get out and leave the rest for another day versus just drawing it out, because unfortunately you're going to get that. And I didn't see the show, but if it was 4.5 hours, then certainly that's way too long, and people are absolutely going to get burned out no matter how good the show is.
It just hurts your main, because they were telling great stories week after week. The promos were awesome leading up to it. Like the stuff on Dynamite was, but then when you're going to pay it off, and everyone was like pumped about it at the beginning of the show, by the time we get there, and people were like, "Can we just fucking get this over with?" Well, that's not what you want to have them invested in their story. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You want people to be done like, "Oh, I can't wait to, I need to see more. I need to see more." I don't think anyone goes away from 4 hours of anything going, "I want more."
Yeah. Tony Khan comments if Shane Helms and Gangrel will appear in AEW again. He said, "To be honest, I don't have either of them booked on anything in the next loop or the immediate future." Wow. But I'm really also open for them both to come back. So that's kind of a funny, like, kick the fucking legs out, like right in the scrum job.
Anyone who thought we were going to see Ganger Kane or Hurrigrel, it's not going to happen.
We were good in the Matt Hardy Elite Deletion. I thought it was fun, man. I wanted Helms to go into the Lake of Reincarnation. I mean, he came back as the reporter, but I wanted him to come back as 3 count out of the Lake of Reincarnation.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny jokes in there. Gangrel was a good appearance, but then they took it way too long when they went inside the warehouse to like finish it. They could have finished it outside. Would have been fine. Seth Rollins believes Dominic Mysterio has all the potential in the world. He puts him over. Let's see. Scroll. I think his time will come to realize the truth about the greater good, whether that's sooner or later, that's not for me to say. Dominic is a young man, extremely talented young man with all the potential in the world. Dude, I got to say, as critical as I've been of Seth Rollins, him taking Dominic, and obviously along with Ray, what they've done in the ring with him to cover his, that they really shown that this kid can go if you have somebody to lead him. And I think this has been the first time Seth's really stepped up to another level in his career. Like the storyline, I don't want to go in on that, but like to watch him take a kid who's never been on TV and get some of the performances he has gotten out of him, it's pretty incredible, the amount of work he's done with him.
Certainly, and even though I don't watch regularly, I've seen a little bit of his work, and you can tell that Seth is really working hard to try to do everything he can to let Dominic Mysterio shine. I'm inclined to agree. I think Dominic Mysterio has a lot of potential and can be a great talent. I still feel now is not the time for his run, and that's nothing against him. That's just simply because you can still tell he doesn't quite have. He's not quite sure of himself yet. And I think he needs a little time in developmental personally to really find that and really get to reap the rewards of his potential. And there's nothing worse you can do than to overexpose him early, because then that's going to be really hard for making the fans forget down the line. So far, I don't think necessarily they have, but it's going to start to happen, especially as he starts going into other stories with other workers who might not be as seasoned as Seth Rollins and can bring them up to their level to a degree. You know what I mean?
I think, are him and Lars Sullivan on the same show? No? Yeah, they're both on SmackDown. I think Lars Sullivan should be the next one to like kill him like a bunch of times, so he only has to have one match. Not that Lars Sullivan can carry him, but you keep it simple.
Well, yeah,
it can go over on Lars down the road after he gets a bunch of heat on him. You know what I mean? That's spinning out of this. I think. I'm just trying to think of good ways. But if you want to compare it, like when Baron Corbin, who gets it now, but when they first brought him on the road, he was still pretty rotten, and they were putting him with Ziggler, and Ziggler was doing what Ziggler does, and making everybody look good. That's his whole job there. He does it better than everybody else. But Corbin gets it now. I think it's definitely that same way with Dominic, but Dominic gets it way more than Corbin did in that same time period already. You know what I mean? So it's going to take less time for Dominic, especially being Ray's kid and whatnot, to get to the higher level that he needs to be at. He's going to get there a lot quicker than the usual 2 years it takes.
True. I agree with that.
So, but yeah, that's good. I mean, there's Seth stopped doing the Superplex Falcons Arrow Falsey, so that's fine. That's a win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Here's another Paige story, kind of another scary one. Very similar to what's the girl's name who had the stalker there? The with dark hair. Fuck, Sonya Deville. Unfortunately, Paige was put in a scary scenario this past weekend as she revealed on her social media that a stalker turned up at her home. Thankfully, nobody was hurt during the incident as Paige and her boyfriend, Ron Radke, dealt with the situation. Radke handled the potential invader until the police arrived to arrest him. Radke and Paige both took to social media to provide an update on the situation, with Paige admitting it was the scariest. Sadly, this isn't a one-off incident with female WWE superstars Sonya Deville recently being involved in a home invasion from a stalker prior to SummerSlam. Buy a pistol, learn how to use it safely, and be prepared.
Yeah.
That's what I tell you to do. Be smart, keep it safe, but be prepared.
And not that the law is ever going to stop crazy, but what is the I guess the penalty for stalking? I feel like the first thing comes to mind is I also feel like probably the legal penalties probably aren't as stiff as they should be,
right?
Especially when you consider how much.
I mean, it depends what he has on him. This guy with the Sonya Deville one had a bunch of fucking like
weapons
and tape them up and tie them up type shit, bind, torture, kill stuff. So now you're talking about a different scenario of a kidnapping, like attempted kidnapping, fucking that you can slam them with. Once you get into that type of shit, you're talking mandatories 5-10 years if found fucking guilty minimum. But then with this guy, I don't know what he had on him or what have you, if he's just trying to peep in the window. But then now you're talking more of probably a restraining order within, 5 miles of whatever she's supposed to be in. And if you break that, then you go to jail. But if there isn't intent to fucking do harm or what have you, where they can prove it, they're probably not going to get as much on the guy, except for like trespassing, stalking and that type of shit. And he might do a little time, but I think that other dude with Sonya Deville is fucking definitely going down for 15 to 20.
Well, yeah, because I guess intent certainly is everything. It's still a scary situation, though. I hate to hear stories like that happen, especially so soon after we just heard one. And I just hope that things like that don't become a recurring trend. I mean, there's always been stalkers in wrestling.
That guy's got to be super fucked on the heels of this one within the same year. Like, if you know about Paige and that, about Sonya Deville,
right.
I mean? Like, you know what? That guy got away with it, or didn't get away with it. But me, I'm fucking slick. I'm going to fucking pull this off. Like, we're obviously dealing with some fucking mental deficiencies, and it might just be time to euthanize these motherfuckers. That's what one fucking vibrator video will do to you. Team SmackDown's latest edition, Ruby Riot, shows off a new look. She cut her hair short, that sprightly look. And I got to say, I think it's a fucking good call, man. This is another daughter of Rip, an OVW sister. Yep. She was kind of there right when I came to visit a couple times. But she had come down after I had left. What's her shoot name? Starts with a D.
Dory.
Dory?
Yeah.
All right. Dude, I think this is a really good look for her, to be honest with you. Even though her, she has a unique look, and Vince and the boys rib once in a while, but it looks good, dude. Here, I'll show you.
Oh, cool. That looks like she colored it too.
Yeah, well, it's Ben Green.
Oh, really?
But they also got Shotzi Blackheart with the same gimmick kind of down on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
NXT, so she was probably like, "Fuck that, I'll just cut mine." And I'm sure it feels good in Florida. That's for sure, to have short hair like that. So I think that's a good look for her. It definitely looks like Joan Jett and Green with the Punk. Good stuff.
Yeah, looks good.
She's a badass, man.
Yeah, she's awesome.
WWE pays respect to legendary Jeopardy host Alex Trebek. Man, Beast, I know you did recently too. The company tweeted, WWE saddened to learn that Alex Trebek has passed away at age 80. WWE extends condolences to Trebek's family, friends, and fans. Trebek, an institute on television across multiple generations, was the guest ring announcer for WWF title match between Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7, and also interviewed talent backstage throughout the pay-per-view. Yeah, man. I mean, Alex Trebek, an icon of Americana. I don't know how he plays globally or not, but if you're an American and you grew up,
I'd say Canadian as well. He's a proud Canadian.
There you go. 80s, 90s. In the last 40 years, this guy has been in your home as a way to help teach your family and make you feel smarter, make you feel very stupid, and show you, how it is. Obviously, I love probably some of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches. Be Will Ferrell. I'm wondering if they'll do something very cool for him, Saturday Night Live, Jeopardy from Heaven or something like that, because Sean Connery just passed, right?
That's true. Yeah. So you can play that up.
Great. I thought about that. Wouldn't that be a great sketch with those guys there in Heaven? Yeah. I think that'd be fucking phenomenal, and give people the reciprocity that we all kind of want and need. I mean, he's 80 and he was going through cancer stage 4 and all that. So, and just losing Tracy Smothers and stuff, the wrestling world's feeling that too. But this is a piece of Americana in the last 40 years, not just a human being, but, something that we all, you want to talk about unity. I don't give a shit what color, gender, sex you are or identify as. Motherfuckers like some Jeopardy. Nobody was ever like, fuck Jeopardy, man. This shit sucks. So everybody would shut the fuck up. And how fast could you read it and get close or get it wrong? Or when you nail it and your category comes up, you were just in the zone, man. So always a good shot of endorphins while expanding your mind. So at the end of the day, thank you for 40 years of entertainment and making us all a little more educated.
Absolutely. I don't think I could say it better myself. I wrote a little tribute on my Facebook yesterday, but just to echo what I said there, growing up, I used to watch with my Aunt Karen in the living room, and back in the day, it was rare for me to even get one question right. I mean, occasionally they might throw in like a question about a kid show or something, and I would know that, but I kept watching though. And as the years went on, I would start to get more and more questions right. And I really would, it was way one that my aunt always bonded together over watching Jeopardy. And I continued to watch even up until literally the day before he passed. I was watching Jeopardy the night before. It's still something I enjoy watching. And it's something, like you said, I think it's universally appreciated by everyone. I mean, who doesn't love a good trivia question? And he definitely will be sorely missed. And, you know, I think a lot of people knew it was coming. I mean, stage 4 cancer, it's hard to be. If anything, he hung on longer than I expected one to, given the diagnosis. But he will certainly be missed, and there certainly won't be another like him. I feel bad for whoever has to carry on as the next Jeopardy host, because certainly those aren't going to be shoes anyone is going to be able to fill.
No, you just got to pay as much respect to him every time you can, man, even in a throwback clip at the end, something along those lines. But just unbelievable career, man. Very, very cool. Very cool job.
Yeah.
And someone said Burt Reynolds also passed. I think we're going to get the Saturday Night Live. You can't not do it if those three guys are, and then you just slot. Who would you put in the third spot? You guys in the chat room live here, 33 Live, Hamin Media Group, and Ben Hamin, YouTube and Twitch. Who's your third celebrity that's passed that you could put in there in the heaven booking? You got to have Burt Reynolds and obviously Sean Connery with them, because those are the classics from that sketch. One more, I'm not sure. There's plenty to choose from. You know?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Maybe I might go Jesus. I think Jesus would be fucking funny. And he loses. Oh, dude, somebody playing Chris Farley would be good too.
Yeah, although that one's hard to pull off though.
I don't know. I think there's a couple guys I know who could do it.
Yeah.
There may not be regular cast members. I don't know.
They could have, probably they wouldn't do it, but I know they had Jim Carrey doing the Joe Biden. He shows up and they're like, no, you're not, it's not your time yet, but they're not going to do it.
Jeffrey Epstein would be funny too. Matt Hardy admits his confidence took a shot following All Out after the knockout there. Said he was feeling bad about it. Felt like he did a disservice to AEW on that night, even though it was really out of his control and obviously nothing intended to mean or happen. Dude, I'm not even going to read this. Dude, stop saying that. You don't got nothing to apologize for ever. What he did on the pay-per-view this week is what he should have been doing from the jump. These fucking big, grandiose versions of deletion. That's what we wanted from him,
And I will say, on a similar note, I did see, maybe this is one of the headlines coming up. I saw Tony Khan, I guess at a press conference, had mentioned they were buckling down on their medical protocols and everything. And apparently we're bringing in Chris Nowinski to talk to some of the people about, taking care of, especially with concussions and being mindful of that and taking better care of one's health. And so, I'd say certainly that lends credence, because I was very critical before over that whole situation with Matt Hardy and the lack of care that I felt he received. So if they truly are buckling down on those things and learning from it, then I applaud them for it, because just as strongly as I was standing up to say that was bullshit, I'll be the first one to stand up and say that good. I'm glad to hear it seems like things are finally heading the right direction as far as taking care of and putting more value and just being more mindful of their employees' health and the health of the wrestlers. And that's always should be first and foremost in anyone's minds. And I'm glad to hear it seems like they're stepping up as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I heard a stooge report from that young lady, Abaddon, that she's a lot better too, and it wasn't as bad as they thought it could be. So that's always a good thing when anybody takes a stiff one in the ring, for sure. Yeah. During a recent interview with WrestleStink, former WWE superstar Leo Rush revealed that he is set to be in the new Power Rangers movie. At the end of the interview, Rush revealed that he's going to be in a Power Rangers movie entitled Legends of the White Dragon, which will have members, that sounds fucking KKK as hell, which will have members of the original Power Rangers series. Rush admitted he doesn't know who he is just yet, and did tease as a chance that he will be a Power Ranger. Well, why not? The motherfucker can do crazy flips and shit. Of course you'd make him a Power Ranger. It's actually a Power Rangers movie, so it's Kung Fu times 100. They're still casting. I'm just part of the cast. We haven't gotten who's going to be who yet, but I will be in the movie. There's a chance I could be a Power Ranger. So go Leo Rush. Bouncing back from wrestling controversy, hopefully he's another guy that is growing up a little bit, and that if he does well on this could lead to other things for him, and that, you know, he stays humble in that locker room as well and doesn't, cost himself any opportunities based on repetitious behavior.
Agreed. Based on his stuff he said in the past, I'm inclined to feel like I hope you're right. I hope he grows up and learns from what he's done in the past, and just matures, not just as a performer but as a person. Because based on the stuff he was saying before, it certainly did not lend one to believe that was the case.
Yeah. It didn't. Update on Chelsea Green following her absence from WWE TV. Chelsea Green has been noticeably absent from WWE for several months now. Reportedly has provided details on why. Green hasn't wrestled since May 27th, which she posted a tweet about recently with a cursing emoji next to it, showing her frustration at the situation. She had previously appeared on NXT, having been part of Robert Stone brand early on, and it also appeared on Raw as well. And reported by Fightful Selection, it was noted that Green was actually called up back in May following her match with Charlotte Flair, which impressed. However, when Paul Heyman was removed from executive director role, plans for her were put on hold. Vanessa Bourne also finds herself in a similar position, with creative having given her nothing yet. It currently remains unknown whether Green will be back in action, and if the plan is to still keep her on the main roster or return to the black and gold brand. Oh, let's talk real here, okay? Why that's not the real reason, and I thought they'd go into it real quick. Fucking Zack Ryder gets a future endeavored. They're doing Mandy Rose Otis gimmick. They're legit 5 minutes around the corner looking for a place to shoot that pool scene in, and they call Chelsea Green like a week after this. They all got future endeavored, and she's with Zack Ryder. And, you know, trying to test him and put him on the spot of, can we come shoot in here? And like, it's at Zack Ryder's house. You just fired the guy and you want him to do you a solid. And the answer was a hard no. And that put her on the radar right away. And then he shows up as a buddy favor, thinking people are that he's going to show up at AEW. And that only lasted 2 appearances. And because they know that they're together and that he's trying to get that job, the Stooge pipeline is way open. So why would you have somebody in your locker room that is going to go right back to Zack Ryder, who's going to want to use that leverage information as Cody's best friend to let you know what's going on in NXT so you can combat it? This is not a hard Cold War strategy to figure out of why she's put on the fucking sidelines. And now on the sidelines, she's out on the beach every day. Her body is in the best shape she's ever been, and not that she was ever in bad shape, but she wants to be in Sports Illustrated, so she's taking all these bikini shot pics every day and social media vanity stuff because that's all she has right now, and putting a sexy worker face on it. Sex sells. But I'm still over here going, where is my Laurel Van Ness? Her best stuff she ever did was when she was a jaded bride in Impact, and that character work outshined everybody in every fed. And now she's just another bikini girl on the sidelines, getting Instagram snaps, when the reality of that Laurel Van Ness character is better than anything I've seen on WWE in the last fucking 8 years. So that's where she should be to get back on TV, is going to her strength that way. Because just being another hot body, hot face lost in the crowd while you're with Zack Ryder is going to keep you right where you are on the shelf, marginalized, and wonderful to come back.
That's right. Yeah. Why not be creative? Why not make something out of it and, make yourself a mess from not being on television and you know what I mean? Like, it seems like that would easily play into that character, and that would get more of a movement behind you and get yourself trending out there with putting out promos and shit like that. unless her goal long term isn't to continue wrestling, which it doesn't seem that way.
He's super
right.
Still.
Yeah. So I mean, if she's looking to get out of wrestling, then sure, I guess she's doing the right thing. But if she wants to continue her career in wrestling, she needs to be putting out character work and putting out promos. If they're not putting you on TV, give them a reason to put you on TV. Especially since she can. Not everyone has that ability, the innate ability to just turn it on and cut promos and be like, see, I should be on TV. But she's shown in the past, she's clearly has the ability to do that. And so why she's not does kind of boggle the mind a little bit.
Or why isn't she wrestling constantly to get better? Because that is probably the weakest part of her game. She's beautiful. She's incredible at character. Incredible at it. Like, so she's lucky to have both of those things and then be able to improve her wrestling in the meantime. Instead, what I see is more about Instagram. And what else sucks is Robert Stone is a phenomenal character, bro. That agent character. So without her being part of that, he's got nothing really to sink his claws into as well. So because of that other shit, that's not heat by association. I don't think that he has any heat because he does that's a guy who gets it. He got it at Impact doing the Jersey Shore thing as Robbie E, and he totally gets it at NXT and knows that he's got 2 young sons and he's going to get over with character and he can still wrestle. He's a damn good wrestler too. But he does what the job calls for, But right now, without her and what they were doing together, which was some of the best character-based stuff in NXT, he's just kind of sidelined too a little bit, That sucks.
Yeah. And I will say his performances have been very strong. Haven't been watching NXT over the last couple months. And he's made the most out of, what they've given him too, especially after that stuff fell through. He's helped to elevate, I feel like the one chick they paired him with, Aaliyah. And for a short time when they had the little Robert Stone brand with Mercedes Martinez, that was getting pretty good too. And obviously they called her up with Retribution, and then now she's out. So
now she's out.
Yeah,
it's her idea.
Yeah, it's
good stuff. Good stuff. Tony Khan reveals AEW console game and GM are coming. So after Full Gear in the Scrum job, he says the company's been teasing a big announcement regarding its highly anticipated video game release for Tuesday. But Tony Khan dropped some big news at the media scrum. The pay-per-view revealed AEW is actually working on multiple games, with one being a classic console game and the other being a potential booking simulator. He says, I can't say too much. We're making multiple games, all that kind of shit. So booking simulator is interesting. Maybe the show it works well on an AI. The guy knows analytics, but what interesting when I hear it's a simulator. Go ahead.
No, you were breaking up.
Oh,
you got all.
Am I good now?
That sounded good.
Okay, that's interesting to me. And an analytics guy who wants to do a booking simulator, and we're in a time of AI. What if they could crunch the numbers in various booking scenarios of long-term business, and the AI actually kicks out what would be the top choices based on fan approval to go forward storyline wise? Could we do that and play the psychology? That's super interesting.
I would say absolutely. As a matter of fact, I know there was it wasn't as strong as I'm sure some of the other AI we have, but I do know it was about 10 probably or more so years ago. I used to play there's an online free booking simulator game for wrestling. It was called Extreme Warfare Revenge. And it was similar like that you had to book, you had to think of, how much money you're going to dedicate towards marketing. And you got to see like the merchandise sales. And it was really interesting. And if you book stuff that the fans didn't like, your business went down. And overall, even if you did good or bad, the business would generally trend as far as sometimes the business would trend upwards and it was easy to sell shows. And other times it would trend downward. You really had to think about managing your money and managing your shows appropriately. And you'd have things like talent randomly getting hurt or randomly go off and do things that, got them in jail, and you had to decide whether to release them or fine them. So Anders knows what I'm talking about. But it was really interesting. But that was over a decade ago. And so I imagine nowadays you combine what was already a really good template for a booking scenario game. And that was a free game too, not to mention it. And you put it towards something with some money behind it. There could just be some really cool stuff. I actually would be very interested.
Have you seen Moneyball?
I have not. It's on my list of things to watch, though.
But that's the whole thing of Moneyball is like, okay, how do you, with a low budget, the least amount of budget, the Oakland A's, who were close to winning a championship the year before, but they lose their top players to like the Yankees, who have, 50 times the budget that the A's do. How do you identify younger players who just get on base and get hits most of the time, give you the stats you need to be what you want to be at that price? You lost your top name players, but that doesn't matter because you can free up money for these three, and they're going to give you X amount. And the way this mind works is an analytics, dude. That's interesting. He may end up.
Sorry, broke up again.
What's good this morning? Anything better? Hold on. I'm gonna dump out and dump in.
All right. Well, while Ben's taking a dump, how's everyone doing? Oh, never mind. He's back.
Yeah. I'll, any better or no?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay. I just think the analytics mind that he has combined with Moneyball and the technology now, there's some interesting programs that I've seen social media management wise that could play into that type of thing to swing a certain way. And in money, if I was to apply just the overall loose effect of Moneyball, imagine this. Moxley cost X amount, right? You've gotten value out of Moxley. He's taken your company to a higher level, which Moxley has. Vince wants to hire Moxley back to do the Shield. You don't fight for Moxley or try and pay him more to keep him. You let him go knowing what the value is and what Moxley got you. What other properties can you bring up and invest to put in that spot that are going to keep moving you forward that way based off of it for the spend that you would have gotten before?
It's interesting. But I will say the part of it is, though, that'll be hard is with trademarks, because I will say that that free game I was talking about was fun. Yeah, in part because they used the legit names of the promotions and the wrestlers and everything. But what I remember, they at one point, I think that's when I stopped playing, they switched to a paid version. But the paid version, they couldn't use all those trademark names, so they would use offshoot names that were related or made you think it was that wrestler, but they couldn't say the names, and that's where it can kind of get kind of carny if you have your list of AEW wrestlers that they have the name rights to, but then they have to make up other names for wrestlers to imply it's a different, you know what I mean? And that's where it can get a little bit hairy, I feel like. But who knows? I either way, I'm interested and I'm intrigued, because I think something like that as a mainstream game could be really cool.
I think so too, man. Very interesting. And it would be something different that this guy could do. And our last story is Khan as well. He admits he understands criticism AEW's women division. Tony started out by discussing the women who competed on the show, admitting both Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida are great talents who frequently defend their titles. He said Serena Deeb was a full-time AEW wrestler and really important part of our roster as the NWA Women's World Champ. So, I mean, there's definitely a relationship, and there's a good chance you're going to see NWA title defended here, but the AEW Women's title is still our top priority. We have a great women's champion in Hikaru Shida. She's defended the title against many top contenders, and I think there's still some good matches in front of her. But I thought the match she had tonight was excellent. Okay.
Now, I will say I did not watch the show, but I did read 3 different reports of the show just to get an idea of what some of the wrestling pundits were writing about it, or marks, whatever you want to call them, but still people that were invested in writing about wrestling. And all 3 put over the show as being they liked pretty much all the matches.
Okay.
So now that's where, that's going to be clearly a different opinion than a worker standpoint. But I will say, at least it seems like from some fans' eyes, they did enjoy that match for better or worse, which is something to consider. You do have to consider that, even though I don't necessarily agree with it.
And on the sheets from people reporting?
Yes.
Okay.
They were just giving, an analysis of the show and then giving I
gotta stay true. I gotta stay true to.
And I agree. And that's where I didn't see it and I can't comment. But and I know there can definitely be a difference of opinion in what I feel versus what a wrestling fan might.
I gotta stay true to the. I'm at a crossroads right here. You guys are seeing something right now. Because do I want the meeting with Khan? Yeah. Do I fucking know that we can help out? Absolutely, 100%. But I've also seen some kayfabe shit that I got to stooge, because Oh, I've seen a document, and I don't know if it's real or not, that shows the payroll of what AEW is paying the Sheets. You don't see bad press on AEW, do you? You see constant Wrestle Inc. Interviews with their top guys. The Sheets are on the payroll for AEW, and it's not a stupid thing. That's a smart thing, but they're working it like that people don't know that. And then when it comes to looking at matches, and Deeb and Allison K aside, Deeb and whoever aside, Shorty Russian or whatever, the Thunder Rosa, that Sheeta match versus Nyla Rose was so bad, was so wrong in so many ways, and exposed to me, as we talked earlier about Cody when he's in an ab stretch, getting a guy in the right spot, that neither Sheeta nor Nyla Rose have any idea at all what they're doing in the ring or the psychology of what they're supposed to be. And they bumped Vicky Guerrero on the outside of the ring.
No, they did?
Yes.
Oh my, no.
Yep. Which is a year leading up to even.
Yeah, you don't bump the manager within the first, at least a year, at least.
And at the end, after Sheeta beats Nyla Rose, Vicky gets in her face screaming, and it looks like Nyla's going to hit her and bump her again, but Nyla just takes it and Vicky walks off. So there's no, like, what you think is going to forward. Nyla goes off her feet 4 or 5 times in this match for Sheeta, and not being like, you're the awesome Kong right now. You don't ever leave your feet. I don't care if you're trying to show that you're woman to woman or what have you. You're the beast. You're the size one. You didn't protect her size whatsoever, buried her size time and time again. And then Sheeta just trying to do spot upon spot upon spot, and they're just looking sloppy, really bad. And now then we do all that other business and like weapons, and Aubrey Edwards gets involved, and now she's a character pulling the weapon and shit. You know what I mean? It's just like all egregious stuff that made no sense whatsoever, and actually buried and exposed everybody for not knowing a thing about how to get their character over, how to protect other people, how to protect themselves, and definitely not to bump Vicky Guerrero out of nowhere. It was the lowest point of the pay-per-view, and in every weakness, there's an opportunity to make a strength. Go to your first match and compare the two, and it's blatantly obvious what you need to do. And we're here to help. Yeah,
I'd love to. Heck, I don't even necessarily feel like I have to want to have a hand in the rest of the show. Just give Hamin Media the women's division, and we'll take care of the rest.
Absolutely. We will be your fit Finley to the nth degree, because we already are.
That's disappointing to hear, though, about the Vicky thing. And it seems like, based on what you're telling me, that they're building towards, I guess, a turn between them at some point. But it's like, if you're going to do that, then why would you bump Vicky now? Because it would be so much more meaningful if Nyla Rose did it. But either way, to even think about either of those scenarios, it's still way too early for them to split or for her to take a bump. Yeah. That's wild, man. You'd think someone would have said something about that, because that's just, to me, that's just a hard no. You just don't do that.
And I get it. Khan's got to protect his talent and put him over on the show afterwards. You can't come out and go, "Oof."
True. Yes.
But at the same time, there's a blatant problem, and that's what he's addressing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's got guys around him that could help him fix it, but I'm the guy. You're the guy. We're the guy. That I'm not waiting around until like, oh, he's out of the spot now. That's the spot.
Yeah, he did. He said something about it, right? About the. Okay, yeah. Here's the quote. He said in an interview after the show, he said, "One thing is, people say, and I understand what people are saying about the division. I probably should have done better to put some of Nyla's story when she said she wasn't going to wrestle again, and Vicky said she wasn't going to wrestle again until they got the title shot. I should have used that on Dynamite. I watch Dark very closely and work on Dark very closely and book Dark. So obviously I'm watching Dark, but I forget sometimes that there's about half the audience that watches Dark for us typically. if we do in the overall audience, 800,000 to 1 million on a good week, 400,000 plus in the demo, I think Dark is probably about half that. And I think it's a good audience we've built and a great show, but I probably should have put that on. Yeah. And I will say that is something to think about. And that's something that even with booking OVW, when we had, the main show, and then we'd have our Saturday morning show Overdrive, which wasn't our flagship show. And you have to consider that people aren't watching, both programs. You have to at least assume they're watching just the flagship program and nothing else. And so you have to put those stories on there in some shape or form. It's just, and I can see where that happens, but at the same time, you have to recognize it and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe the AI will take care of everything.
Maybe.
But that's the end of our headlines. Another headline for Hamin Media Group's Patreon, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Our own Old Athers had a sit down with PCO. Thankfully there was an ocean between them, so PCO couldn't get his hands on Old Athers, or vice versa. Athers didn't get his hands on PCO because he's a crazy fucker too. But it's up there now, you guys. Extra content right in the $5 face slap tier, all the way up. I make it available. I wanted to say thanks to Old Athers for getting that done. Dude, PCO needs to start writing the magic email for skincare products. I don't know how a crazy bad it's nice skin, but it's shockingly nice in the video if you want to see that. So check it out. Old Athers doing great work for that extra content. And we'll make that available after the evergreen starts to wear off, probably in a week or two as well, for free media content. So just wanted to highlight him as well, doing some extra stuff. Highlight you, obviously, with the Rip Rogers podcast is just phenomenal stuff that's up right now. And I seen we had some new signups already. So that just keeps us pumped and motivated. You guys are doing great things. And joining us here at twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group, Ben Hamin YouTube, as we battle the censorship front on every digital slum that we have to operate in. We thank you guys for being fluid. And whenever we have to do this, if you can help tweet out the shows on the alternative channels to make sure the diehards who are looking for that content saying, hey, hacker, where are you, on the Conspiracy Horseman channel. Well, you know how it is when the gay deer come to town, Rudolph and all the rest of them, you guys. So Man Beast, he's got it going down with plenty of shows this week. We'll be on Impact together. He'll be doing more with Rip as well. What else you got going on, buddy?
Well, actually, that for the first time ever, I'm going to find some time to do this week, only because I have a lot of respect for him, and he's a good guy, that guy being Jargo. I'm going to, for the first time ever, sit down and watch a New Japan wrestling show. I guess they just had one, so be on the lookout for that at some point. We're going to get together this week. I still got to sit down and watch, but I guess they just had some event in the last week or so, and so I'm going to sit down, watch it, and get my full unbiased thoughts on New Japan wrestling. So be on the lookout for that sometime in the next week. So it should be interesting.
Just keep in mind that I can beat everyone in Japan, and I think you'll be okay.
Okay. I'll keep that. Got it.
You just look at the guy and be like, Hamin can beat this guy, no problem. Maybe we'll do a watch along again this week too. People really like the OVW watch along. So maybe tomorrow after Impact, you and I will pull another 20 minutes and watch another match together. That'd be fun.
Sure. Yeah. Let me know. I'm always down.
Cool. Plenty of stuff, guys, going down in the Discord for Hamin Media Group and Russo brand as well. We're going to open up the Russo one to Russo subscribers here this week. We wanted to give the Patreons first look, but he's pumped about it. He's very excited about the new technology, and bear with us as we get some of it ironed out there. But you guys can get in there and interact right now, as well as the Hamin Media Group Facebook. We got some weird post approval thing, and then that got taken off, and who knows what's going to happen in Zuckerberg world or in Twitter or Twitch. You guys, thanks for following everything at Hamin Media Group on Instagram too. El Plaja doing some great videos. A new 5th of November UFO sighting. I was just checking that video out as well, man. So awesome job by all our producers, all our propaganda artists, all our sleeper cells, all of our street team. ProWrestlingTees.com/all of us, as you can see. Ben,
that is I forgot. I finally got my Pro Wrestling Tees store open. ProWrestlingTees.com/DrBeast. Dr. Beast.
DR Beast.
I only have one shirt up so far, and it's the I'm Back t-shirt. So if you like bad dad jokes and just want an ironic t-shirt to walk in the room, it literally says I'm back, and then a picture of a spine. So It's good for any occasion that you want to come in and pop the room.
For the chiropractor in your life. Definitely hit him up. What's your Twitter?
At Ted the Man Beast. Yep. Be sure to follow
me.
And Twitter and Instagram.
Send us suggestions for t-shirts, man. Absolutely. Shout out to all our locker rooms. Obviously, the Wednesday with Bello, AOC's boyfriend, and Strangler Steve as well. I got a list. I'm looking forward to that one this week as well. Get your shout outs to Strangler Steve at it's Old Bitter Steve, I believe he's at now too. So, good things going down all week long though. Then Stevie and I will be back at the end of the week to wrap it up and bring all the pain. I'm sure Vince just sent me a article for Master Shoot Theater, which should be pretty goddamn funny too this week, you guys. ZordosOliveOil.com. TheBroasters.com for official Vince Russo. Use the code BRO5LB. Save about $8 on the 5-pound bag before the next lockdown, or get these products to get them ready for the holidays. You guys, you're really supporting small business, Hamin Media Group, and everything we got going on here when you do that as well. It just is good synergy all the way around. So once again, it's Dr. Anything else there, pal, for Von Lilas?
For Von Lilas, we're gonna have to get him on the show one of these days because we got to pay our respects to him. He feels very disrespected, Ben. So we're gonna have to get Von Lilas on. And if you ask Von Lilas, this is the only person I've heard it from. If you ask him, he's the one that actually trained Pat McAfee. Supposedly, that's what Von Lilas says anyway. So,
if you get chopped by Von Lilas, you're fucking in.
I will say, Rip did confirm that Von Lilas apparently chopped the living shit out of Pat McAfee. So.
I want to follow up on that and see how well that went, because it never. Yeah. My titties are hurting now just thinking about it. There's no doubt about that, you guys. But we're going to start here like we always do on the Monday Locker Room. Hamin Media Group, hackerhamin.podbean.com, haminmediagroup.podbean.com. It's Dr. Ted. It's Band Hamin. It's the Monday Locker Room. YOLO.